With that, we'll call to order our regular meeting of the Mason County Board of County Commissioners for February 1st, 2022. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance, and let's see. Jamie Taylor, are you available to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that. With that, we'll move into our roll call. If the clerk would please take roll.
I'm here, but I don't know. I think I heard commission, then it stopped.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys hear me?
There she is.
Yep.
Yes.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Great, thank you. Next item of correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report correspondence.
The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following. A liquor license due to expire, change of limited liability for Stonehenge Gardens, application for added privilege to Lori's Hood Sport Gift and Liquor, and temporary discontinued business for M&R Distributing. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission sent in a letter regarding the right-wing dam stability calculations, Cushman No. 1 Development Cushman Project. And Jenny Matson sent in a letter regarding Caldervin Creek flooding.
If there's no other organizational business or correspondence to come before us, we'll move on to item number 5, our open forum for citizen input. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items not on today's agenda. Again, if you are interested in addressing the commission, use the raise hand feature on the Zoom screen. Try to keep your comments to about 3 minutes. We'll begin. I see Greg Sipnicki has his hand raised. Greg, go ahead with your comments.
Yes. First of all, I really want to commend the staff and you, Commissioner Schutte, for the wonderful meeting that we had last night. It was really respectable. It was, as a host, you really, ran it, first class. I want to thank you for that. I also feel that I need to talk about yesterday's briefing where you called Commissioner Randy Netherland out for half-truths and innuendos in his op-ed and his Facebook page that you claimed were misleading, and that you had a desire to have open and honest dialogue. You have been using what I think are, half-truths yourself. And one example is some of the replies that you've made to people that have, emailed you about the sewer. And one example is every decision, one of your quotes is, every decision on the proposed expansion has been discussed in open briefings and voted on unanimously in open meetings, which are available on Mason Web TV. Unanimous, the only thing that was unanimous was Commissioner Netherland agreeing to the line of credit. He was never, for the this project as it's been, and that's not not a half truth, it's also misleading. The other thing is when I spoke to you on the phone last December, you mentioned that when I was talking about the possibility of a town hall, you said, well, we've had other town halls in the past up in Belfor. You even relayed that in a meeting like the following, a few days later when you and Commissioner Netherland were discussing it. And the only meeting that was had was in December of 2016. And that was when they were talking about going over the old Belfair Highway. So the way that this is going over right now, going through Mr. Overton's property and everything. Last night was the first meeting that really brought the public in, that talked about, going that route. So again, that's misleading. Okay. And going forward, I would really, if you want to have open and honest dialogue, you have to have trust. And when there's gotchas in that kind of a thing, you're just dealing with gamesmanship. And it's not really having what we had last night. Last night was just, it blew me away. Even though it lasted 4.5 hours, it was a very productive meeting. It was a meeting where people, even though people had different ideas, we were really able to lead that meeting and think, whether we go that route or do something different or whatever, we're still, a community that cares about each other. And so going forward, I just hope that you can look at, the part that you've played in it, and going forward, that you can do things in a manner like you did when you hosted that meeting last night. I know that I'm definitely going to trust you a lot more, and I think others are going to trust you a lot more. So that's all I have to say.
Great, thanks, Greg. Ken Van Buskirk, I see your hand is raised. Ken, go ahead with your comments.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good morning, folks. It was a short night for us all. I too watched the briefing yesterday, and I am concerned. You're aware that I did a public records request of emails sent by Commissioner Netherland to his constituents. I want to thank Ms. Smith for her prompt reply. The morning of January 27th, I sent in a public comment referencing his January 25th Facebook post, and I asked him to apologize for all the angst and the stress he has precipitated in his post. Later that same day, he started responding to several of his constituents that the potential rate increase was only for Belfair and not North Bay or Lakeland Village. And I believe that he purposely misled folks. I'm asking him once again to apologize. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Ken. Are there any other members of the public for comment on items not on our agenda this morning? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for adoption of today's agenda.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt today's agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the January 24th, 2022 briefing minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the January 24th, 2022 briefing minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item 8, it's approval of our action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which time commissioners and the public may ask questions in order to decide if they'd like to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. We'll begin reading through the items. Commissioner Nunn, if you'd please take items 8.1 through 8.5. Commissioner Trask, if you would please take items 8.6 through 8.12. And I will take 8.13 through 8.17.
Gladly, Mr. Chair. Item number 8.1 reads approval of warrants and treasurer's electronic remittance. Claims clearing fund warrants number 8085622 through 8085853. The amount $1,658,223.26. Direct deposit fund. Warrants number 84105 through 84487. The amount $805,671.64. Salary Clearing Fund, warrants number 7006416 through 7006440. The amount $546,787.03. Item number 8.2, approval of the Mason County Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Lead Subcontract Amendment with Olympic Health and Recovery Services, OHRS, to increase the amount of the contracted from $407,000 to $423,986.72, which is an increase of $16,986.72. Item number 8.3, approval of the Mason County Behavioral Health and Recovery Support Transportation Program subcontracts with Gethsemane Ministries and the Paddy Wagon. Approval of the annual contract with Mason Matters is item number 8.4 for community health improvement work in the amount of $25,000. Gethsemane.
All right, I have a hard time with that word too. So, item 8.5, approval for current expense to purchase vehicle number 188 from Public Works ER&R for $3,922. Transfer vehicle number 102 from ER&R to current expense inventory and surplus Sheriff Police Pursuit vehicle number 32 and 48. Item 8.6, approval to close a portion of Landon Road beginning at 10 a.m. Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, and ending at 4 p.m. Wednesday, February 9th, 2022, to move a house across the road from 581 Northeast Landon Road to 600 Northeast Landon Road. Item 8.7, approval for the chair to execute mutual aid agreements number GCB 3187 for emergency proclamation response assistance and number GCB 3207 for non-proclamation emergency response assistance. Item 8.8, approval of the private line occupancy permit to install new underground power, water, cable, and sewer transport line under West Lost Lake View Drive for address 50 West Lost Lake View Drive. Item 8.9, approval for Mark Neary, County Administrator, to sign the addendums for each of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, recipient agreements in place to address the updated guidelines for enforcement of Title VI Civil Rights Act of 1964. Item 8.10, approval for the Sheriff's Office to double fill positions after receiving official written and documented retirement notice when they are qualified candidates. Item 8.11, approval of the 2022 Memorandum of Agreement Appendix A between Mason County and the Washington State University Extension. And item 8.12, approval to acknowledge receipt of the 2021 Treasurer's Refund Report.
Item 8.13, approval to accept the affidavit of the Mason County Treasurer and approve the cancellation of the uncollectible personal property taxes as shown on Exhibit A. Item 8.14, approval of the Jones Cove Closure Response Plan. Item 8.15, approval of the Annis Bay Closure Response Plan. Item 8.16, approval to schedule a public hearing on Tuesday, February 15th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m. to take public comment on the 2022-2026 Mason County Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan update. And item 8.17, approval to appoint the following community members to the Mason Transit Authority Board to serve a 4-year term from 2022 to 2025. This is to fill the 4 vacant elected official positions. They are John Sheridan, Sandy Tarswell, Wes Martin, and John Campbell. Commissioners, having read through the items on the list, are there any questions or any items you'd like to have removed?
Just a comment when the time comes.
Okay. Members of the public, are there any items on the action agenda that you have questions on or that you would like to see removed for a separate discussion and vote? There are, you can use the raise hand feature to get my attention. Okay, seeing none, commissioners, I would entertain a motion on today's action agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the action agenda in its entirety.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the action agenda in its entirety. Any discussion? Commissioner Netherland?
Yeah, I just want to make note of our interviews that we had yesterday and the great slate of candidates that actually stepped up. It was actually pretty impressive because they were from all over, very highly respected candidates that came through and very competent. I always love when we see competent ones that are applying. It tickles my heart a little bit. And yesterday's interviews showed we have some incredible people here. So a special thank you to those that were not selected, but understand that the ones that were picked were just pretty fantastic. And it would have been hard to unseat some of them because they've done a lot of hard work in that committee already. But welcome aboard, John Sheridan. It's nice to see the ports represented, considering that it is part of their purview is actually to move goods and people. What a concept.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and second that, or not second it, but echo the sentiments from Commissioner Netherland. It's spot on, man. It was pretty cool. It's neat to see people stepping forward, and man, lot of talented people in Mason County.
Made you want to think about re-extending it to a bigger committee again, huh?
Yeah, I would agree. I think we had wonderful candidates and always great to see. These are people who have already stepped up to serve their community in their respective government bodies at an elected capacity, and that they're willing to take on additional work to support the community is really impressive. And so everybody that stepped up to be interviewed and applied, credit to them, and look forward to working with our slate of appointees when they make it onto the Mason Transit Board. Also, just want to note items 8.2 and 3. These are really important behavioral health and law enforcement support programs that we are, in the case of law enforcement assisted diversion, continuing and expanding. And in the case of the transportation program, a great pilot project for the county to work on with our partners at Gethsemane and Patty and the Paddy Wagon in order to, in order to help with those gaps that we have in getting people to treatment and people who are transitioning out of incarceration, and definitely want to make sure that we're taking care of the most vulnerable people in our community and getting them to services that they need and are critical for their recovery. So these are two really important programs. Glad to see the expansion and glad to see the pilot project get supported as well.
Judy, I just want to add that you saying that name so easily was the biggest slap in the face. That was hard.
That's
it just rolled right off. It's like, what the heck?
That's 12 years of Catholic education coming through right there. We've said Gethsemane a number of times.
So, now I get it.
So yeah, any other discussion, commissioners? Okay, hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carry. Oh, I also vote aye. I missed that part. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 9.1. We have appointment of coroner. And Diane, are you briefing that, or do we just move right into it?
My thought was that you would just move into it with a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the Democratic Party sending in their applications for the 3 applicants. It's obvious that we have an absolute incredible candidate that they've sent forward, one that we already have been extremely proud of, not to mention knowing that she will make us even more proud in the future. With that being said, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to appoint Jamie Taylor as our continuing coroner, not just acting.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Jamie Taylor to the position of coroner. Commissioners, is there any additional discussion?
Just real quick, I am super excited to see Jamie, or shall I say coroner.
Madam Coroner,
yeah. She is awesome, and I'm super excited to have her as part of our team.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Grace.
I'll also echo that Jamie is a neighbor out in the Union area and is just so committed to this community. and her husband is a sheriff's deputy here in Mason County as well, and just a family who's definitely committed to public service. And I'm looking forward to serving with you, Jamie, in this new role, and excited to support your appointment to this position. If there's no additional discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Madam Coroner. Glad to have you.
I'll give her a clap too.
Thank you.
And as Commissioner Netherland noted, and it's in our briefing packet, also thanks to the Mason County Democratic Party for turning around those nominations and going through their process. I know it was during the holiday season that they were doing that, and so I appreciate every effort that they made to get those into us and get us to this point. So, Greg, I know you had a role in that, and so appreciate it. With that, we will move on to, are there any other department heads or elected officials that would like to address the commission at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into item 10. There are no public hearings. We'll move on to our board calendar and reports. I'll get us started if Commissioner Netherland will go second, and then we'll conclude with Commissioner Trask. So a few items moving forward over the next 2 weeks. Have an EDC Legislative Committee meeting later today. Have 2 meetings with the South Sound YMCA later this week. And I'm also doing a ride along with Chief Sperling next week with briefings. Also have a check-in with the Army Corps of Engineers on the Skokomish Valley project, MACECOM Board Governance and Legislative Board meeting. And then 2 days of back-to-back meetings, all-day meetings with the state's transmission corridor working group. And then back for briefings and a check-in with staff at the Thurston Mason BHASO. And then our Mason Crisis Services System of Care Work Group meeting, and then back for our regular meeting. I do just want to take a moment to acknowledge Greg's comments during the Citizen Forum, and my comments were misleading. I do apologize for that. I think my intent there is to show that whether it was a capital budget request that going back to January of 2017, or up to and including that acceptance of the loan, that was the reference point that I was making in terms of votes that we have all taken along the way. And I know that I have to stand by my voting record, as do other elected officials. And so just wanted to clarify that. I understand that there's disagreement now on portions of this plan, and we had a really great discussion last night, and I in no way want that to overshadow all of the great input and all the work that went into making last night, I think, a success. As a commissioner, I fully recognize and accept my responsibility to be honest with my constituents, but also to make sure that as an organization, we're actively engaging with the community. And there have been some challenges with that in the past, and I think last night is a great example of how committed to that we can be, and how committed to that our staff is. And there were times that we delayed last night's hearing, and it's because staff said, and I respected it, that they needed a little bit more time to be able to put together a presentation that would be meaningful to the public, and allowed us to collect those comments and questions that people submitted. And so for any comments that I've made in my email responses to folks writing in, with that context in mind, I do stand by them, as there have been a number of votes on this that have been unanimous up until recently. But if there is any misunderstanding on that, I apologize for it. Thanks. Commissioner Netherland?
Yeah, so the last couple of weeks, Area Command, Mason Transit Authority meetings, we've been together, Mason County Housing Authority meetings, closed meetings for labor discussions, Board of Health meeting, joint meeting, which, by the way, I thought we had that joint meeting with the city and the port. I gotta say, compared to the last time that we met with the city, it was night and day difference. I felt like it was completely welcoming. I felt like they were looking to work together instead of, I believe in our last meeting, it was very much, this is what we're going to do, and this is how you're going to have to deal with it. This one was not like that at all. I walked out of there thinking that we have some great opportunities to actually work with them and protect the citizenry if we put together that MOU that makes it to where they go out for the petition process as their mechanism, then it's going to be up to us to take care of our citizens. And if they don't like us, they get to go. There's nothing disrespectful about that. That is the way that it should be set up. The idea of looking to work together on the outskirts for the UGA to be able to create the housing that's needed for Shelton also was a big point that came up. And if those areas and those investments are protected, then why wouldn't we do that? It'd be beneficial to all. So I want to give a pat on the back to Mark and to our commission for putting that together and how that was handled. I hope that they all go like that. And if they do, I think this whole county is going to benefit greatly. I think the commission would agree. It was pretty good. So with that being said, we also had a Belfor sewer hearing. I had the left board meeting. Coming up, between the next meetings, I have a couple of area command meetings, a Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization meeting. I have a community transportation event that is in Allen. I'm just a guest speaker at it. I am not the person putting it on. I've had a lot of people comment about the mandate for, I think it was masks or vaccinations. I want to remind everybody that I support everybody's right to be themselves, but that also means that organizations that are putting an event on get to choose how they want to put it on as well. And if somebody invites me to speak and they want information that I can bring from the county, my job is to show up regardless of party affiliation or personal feelings when it comes to vaccines. I do hope in the future that there's another one that is put on where it is open to everybody in the public. And I just wanted to get that out there. We have our labor discussion meetings elected. Mark, on my calendar, I have the elected official meeting, but I have nothing in the workbooks on it. Do we have an elected official meeting coming up, or is this just an old addition somehow into my calendar?
I believe that may be an old. We might have put that as a placeholder. I apologize. Okay. I will verify and get back with you.
Okay.
What day is that on?
I'll get you that information afterwards. I don't have my calendar up. I write it down first.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority, a meeting of the audit committee. I have another event, a safety meeting at the hub. I'm not sure what that is, but I just know that they've asked that I show up. That's our senior center up in North Mason. And with that being said, that brings me back for the next meeting.
Great. Sounds like we're all a little busy, huh? Hey, well, I also wanted to comment on the breakfast. I thought that it was well put together. It is so exciting to me to see how we're all starting to really work together. And I think that this was something that I've noticed was lacking for, gosh, ever since I've been here, I guess, or really started paying attention. So I'm super excited and echo Commissioner Netherland's comments. And so coming to the calendar, this afternoon, I have a Turning Point fundraising committee meeting, point in time count meeting, the EOC, a Coastal Caucus. Oh, my goodness, Commissioner Netherland, I think you passed it on. I'm having a hard time speaking. Oh, wait, I always have a hard time speaking. Okay. Of a Coastal Caucus meeting, Public Works Board meeting, WASAC LSC meeting, another Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting, county briefing, WASAC virtual assembly. I'm going to meet with the ARC. And then I have another Turning Point meeting, local emergency planning meeting, a dementia study group, business after hours at 2nd Street Design, another EOC meeting, Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting, WASAC. That brings us back to briefing. And also I want to wish my husband a happy birthday on February 13th. And don't forget that the 14th is Valentine's Day. So you got responsibilities, guys.
Thanks for the reminder. Commissioners, if there's no other reports to come before us, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Moving to second that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.